Hey, welcome back to The Real on Relocating to Mexico with Tristan and Cece, your relocation consultants. And we just wanted to jump on here and just share with you real quickly how our overall experience was with getting our Mexican residency.
Yeah.
This is a very unique process. Everyone has a different experience.
None of the same.
So we just completed giving you a great video on the 6 steps that you need to take to get Mexican residency. But I'm sure you're wondering, well, what was y'all's experience like? So T, let me go ahead and say this. Tristan handled the entire process for us. I'm so grateful. I managed our businesses while we closed up everything. And so I'm going to interview you today and just see how your process went overall. But start off with, you're at home, you've decided, we sit on the couch, I remember this like nothing. This was last November. You sit on the couch and you're like, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time for us to go ahead and move abroad. And this was actually November 2024.
2024, yes.
Yeah, November 2024.
Wow.
Time flies.
Time is flying.
Time is flying.
Yeah.
But you decided it's time to do this. Let me get on here and start the process. Step 1. What was that like for you?
Whew. Lots of research, y'all. But first of all, thank you for having me here on Good Morning Mexico. It's a pleasure to be here in the beautiful Puerto Vallarta in your interview chair.
He's so silly.
So what it was like was a lot of research, making sure that this was the right move for me and my family, making sure that we're going to be safe and a good place for us to thrive. And
Where were you doing most of your research?
YouTube and Facebook and Google. So those were my 3 best friends at the time. Facebook had a lot of unique information on there, some haters in some of these groups, some gatekeepers, but YouTube was very helpful. We encourage you to watch some of our other YouTube videos because we kind of filtered out some of the bad stuff and gave you the good stuff. But a lot of good information is on YouTube, and that's how I found our secret resource, our Facilitator. That's how we found that Puerto was the place for us.
Yes.
And was able to verify a lot of the information that I found on Facebook and Google. Like, okay, they said XYZ. Okay, this person on YouTube said XYZ, so it's kind of lining up.
Now, if I recall correctly, this was a DIY project to do it yourself, right?
Yeah, it started that way. It started that way.
What made you change your mind?
But God will work it out, won't he? He'll change some things around. I started this initially going to the Houston Consulate website, and this was around November. Y'all know what happens in November, just not a political video, but some things have been going on in November. And I was looking for, there's a drop-down menu to ask you what country do you currently reside in. And I could not find the United States. I said, they already cut us out.
We were panicking.
Already told us no.
It's over.
It's over. We stuck here. But if you're on a Mexican consulate website, you're looking for Estado Unidos.
Yes, Estados Unidos. We were looking for the United States, and I'm telling you, we was tearing their website up. But when we finally couldn't find it, you decided what?
I decided to hire some help, pay them people, and what we did was hire an immigration facilitator, and their job is to make sure they literally facilitate the entire process. You do a consultation with them, tell them what your goals are, you pay a half of their fee, at least ours, and they get to work. She started trying to get a consulate appointment with us in Houston.
Yes.
In the time frame we were trying to make things happen, she said there was no availability.
Right.
So if you want to be able to get your residency by this date, you need to fly to Phoenix, Arizona. They have availability, and they're friendly and helpful.
Absolutely. One thing that I really enjoyed about working with our facilitator, she was very honest with us and told us, ooh, it's going to be a little hard for you to get approved in this consulate. Believe it or not, all the consulates have different requirements.
Yeah.
And also, some of them are just known to be a little bit harder in their interviews. So she was able to tell us, go over there. They'll take care of you. You'll be good to go. So she can't make any promises. None of them can make any promises. But if you at least do your part, it smooths out pretty well.
And 2 things about working with consulates outside of your city or state. One, some of them don't allow people that don't live in that current city or state to complete the process there. So for instance, I forgot what city it is, but you may coming from Houston and going to, let's say it's Seattle. Seattle may say, hey, we don't take people who live outside of our city for the residency process.
Right.
And another part is some of the people that work at consulates, not everyone, I'm not naming a specific one, but they may not be happy that you're moving to Mexico.
That's the truth.
So keep that in mind in your interview process, and you may we've had some of our clients and heard some people online, they've gotten some attitude, some sass during their process, but that person may not be happy that you're moving to their country.
That is so real, especially with the climate that's going on right now. So that's a very good point.
Yeah.
So you got with your facilitator. Your facilitator said, okay, start gathering all these documents. Yeah. Now, this is the part that I see constantly in Facebook groups. Oh my God, this paperwork is driving me nuts. You know, how do I have to print out all the bank statements? Yeah. My name wasn't correct on there? Just all kinds of stuff. Tell us what you kind of experienced in that.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're gonna have to kill some trees. Depending on the consulate, they're gonna want all 6 months or 12 months of the statements, and typically all the pages. And depending on your bank, it may be 6 pages, 13 pages. So do that times 6 months or 12 months. So
and
you
consecutive,
may
right?
Consecutive. It can be. You can't skip a quarter, can't skip a March because we had a bad paycheck. It has to be 6 consecutive months if you're going by income, or 12 consecutive months if you're going by savings and investments.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Now, one big thing that people often get caught up on is, you know, we all have these different names, and what's on your passport may not look like what's on your bank statements, but it is so crucial that whatever, check the top of your bank statement, make sure it has your name exactly the way it is on your passport, because I have known people to get declined right off the bat just with something like that.
We saw one of the Facebook residency groups, someone drove 6 hours to a consulate. They declined them because their bank statements didn't have the middle name that was on the passport, and they begged, plead, cried, and like, sorry, try again.
You know what? They have no set way of how they go about interviewing. Like, there's not these metrics that have to be met. Every consulate is very different. So it'll be very important that you understand the rules and outlines of things. Okay, so you got all your paperwork together.
Got it.
You got your ticket to Phoenix, Arizona. You are now getting ready to sit down or go to the office to sit down and do your interview. What was it like walking into the Phoenix consulate's office?
Well, it was nice and pretty. Nice and clean. No, you know, it's just surreal. It's like, man, I really am flying to a whole nother city to move to a whole nother country. And that's just a wild process within itself. But because this whole time you're like, I'm actually getting ready to move to another country. So I guess the word is surreal. You know, it's just very surreal and unique. And
as you were waiting for your interview, like, were there a lot of people in there?
There were not a lot of people. We were actually the only ones there that day for residency in Mexico. The lady was real cool. We talked about traveling and things like that. I think that kind of helped us during our interview because she likes to travel as well.
But you were very kind, the way you presented yourself. So when you go in for these interviews, you want to make sure that you're coming in chill, kind. Good morning, how's your day going? Hope you're having a good day. Like, set off the tone right, because again, you don't know what you're really walking into. So you want to go ahead and set the tune just nice and calm and easy.
Because typically there's only one person in that whole building that does the residency, the visa process. So if they're having a bad day and then you come in with an attitude, humans are human. And so, you know, life's going to happen. So they may have a good experience, you may not have a good experience. So if you're not a kind person, code switch and be a kind person that day. You can always be your normal self once you get that visa. But be kind during that appointment.
Speaking of the appointment, what were the interview questions like? Did you have a lot of them? What was it like?
Not really a lot. I mean, it was a while ago, but typically it was like, you know, why are you wanting to move to Mexico? How long will you be there? How will you be providing for yourself? And, you know, what are you currently doing for income? Those are the main questions I really recall. There might have been some more generic ones. But just be honest and be short. Don't go into a long soliloquy of, I want to move to Mexico because I want the ley lines and the magic of the land and get in touch with. No, I want to move to Mexico because I'm retiring. No, I want to move to Mexico because I want a different change of pace. Whatever your truth is, be honest with them and pray for the best.
Just don't go in there talking about, I want to move here because it's cheaper.
Please don't do that. Don't insult them like that.
Again, if you want us to do a video on how to answer these interview questions or to prep you, I want you to put in the comments, interview questions, please. And we might just do a video on that.
We might just do one.
All right. So you got the interview questions out of the way. How long did it take you to get the visa stamp in the back of your passport?
You know, we were blessed that we got it the same day. She took our passport, took her paperwork, said she had to submit it upstairs to the boss. Told us to go get something to eat, and before our check came, she called and said, "Hey, your visa stamp is ready in your passport. Come back." So We rushed our lunch.
Sure did.
Ran it back up there. Got that to-go box. And went and got our visa and passport. And we were headed back to Houston the next day. So we were very fortunate.
We were very, very fortunate. I think we were prepared to stay a little bit longer if we needed to.
Yeah,
I can't
just
recall,
in case.
just in case.
Yeah.
But you do want to block out some time. Mind you, we did this back in 2024. Things are very different now. It might take a little bit longer.
That's right.
So just be prepared to stay a day or two.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't take that long.
If you have to travel.
Yeah, if you have to travel.
If it's in your local one, you may have to drive back up there. So
Yeah. Okay, so we got the visa and the passport. That initial feeling, what did that feel like to have that done? Step one of the two-step process. What did
come
that
on
feel
now. I
like?
was actually doing a
You were
two-step.
showing out.
The little Kendrick Lamar.
You were showing up.
No, so I knew the hardest part was over, but we still had to get through the Conhe. But you know, most people say the consulate part is the most difficult part because that's where you actually can to get declined. The Conhe is not so challenging because it's more straightforward.
Okay.
So
And where was the Conhe?
You have to do that in Mexico. You cannot do that in the United States, and you can't do it as a tourist in Mexico without that resident visa in your passport. So you got to go through step one. The Conhe is basically when you exchange that stamp in your visa, the residency visa, for your actual physical residency card. And you have to do that at the INM office here in Mexico, which is their immigration office. So this appointment is more straightforward. That's why it was a little bit less stressful because we hired a secret weapon at Facilitator.
Yes.
Now you can go research your own, but good luck.
Wait a minute. Now, all facilitators are not created equally.
No,
You
they're
do
not.
not need to be certified. You don't need to have any kind of paperwork showing that you are one. We have heard some horror stories. We've actually taken on other clients who had to drop their facilitator. So if you are looking for a trusted and reputable facilitator, head over to followfreedom.com, set up a consultation with us. We will be more than happy to connect you because we want to make sure you get this right the first time.
Call us. So the Conhe is more straightforward though. And our situation is going to be unique because if you don't have a facilitator, it's going to be totally different for you.
Yeah.
We walked up to the immigration office. Our representative was there, a member of her team. She walked us in, sat us down, got our passports from us, started filling out the paperwork, submitted it to the front desk, came back with some more paperwork, signed. A few minutes later, she was like, hey, they need you to come give your thumbprints. They need to take a picture. Then we made our payment. And then an hour later, we got our residency card. We barely spoke to anyone that worked at the INM office. It was very well put together and facilitated by that individual.
Absolutely.
And that's really beneficial because we don't speak fluent Spanish. Everybody in there is fluent in Spanish. I don't think anybody speaks English.
I don't recall.
All the paperwork is in Spanish. Even to schedule the appointment, the website's all in Spanish.
Yes.
So having that facilitator really would have made it an easier process, less stressful. And that's why I say that first half was the challenge. The second half, I walked out that place with that doing a George Jefferson shirt. Like, hey, I'm a Mexican resident now. You hear me?
Yes, indeed. I remember that day. I felt like we had conquered the world. Little did we know we were just starting our process.
Just starting. Still had to go back home.
Still had to go back home and pack up and sell and do all these things. But you did it what seems to be in one fell swoop. Like I remember November, and we probably would have got it done sooner.
Yeah, but we had a trip.
Yeah, we had a group trip, but we got it done in January, and then just a few short months later, we moved out here in May.
Yes.
What the
6
heck?
months. He was moving.
You were moving.
You was ready to go, weren't you?
So what would you say to the person who's like you? I'm ready to get out of here. I'm ready to be done with this. I want to be done by the end of the year. What would you say that they need to start doing right now to ensure that they have a smooth residency process?
I would say start off with the research and figure out where you want to move.
Yeah.
Then understanding the residency process, what you're going to qualify for, temporary or permanent. Then after you understand which one you're going to qualify for, get all your paperwork together. Start getting those bank statements. So some of you all may need to call your bank, and it may take a while for that.
Yeah.
I would also say, if you can, if you're lost in the sauce, get with a consultant. Hire someone that has gone through the process and can help you avoid some of the pitfalls, because you can waste a lot of time and money trying to make it a DIY process. You also want to make sure that you hire an immigration facilitator. If you're trying to make this something quick and smooth and focus on selling things, packing, handling all that kind of rigmarole, get a facilitator that you can trust, has been vetted, and has a proven track record, because they're going to make everything smooth for you. You literally have to just pay, show up, submit, and get your card.
Yeah.
And so I would say that would be my recommendation on how you handle that. Research,
And more research.
and more research. Because when moving to Mexico, people just say, "Oh, Mexico," but you got to think about you're moving to a new country. What state do you want to move in? What city you want to move in? And then what neighborhood do you want to move in? And then what type of building do you want to be in? Do you want to be in something like a casita? Or do you want to be something in a high-rise condo? So there's a lot of research that you need to start doing now. And if you have someone else you're moving with, discussing it, make sure you're on one accord with them.
Absolutely. Those were perfect recommendations. The last one that I would recommend is the big one for a lot of people, which is figure out how you're going to support yourself. If you're going to get permanent residency because you're retired, you good to go, boo. Enjoy your margarita. However, if you're someone who's still on the clock, start thinking about how am I going to realistically support myself in Mexico? Because in Mexico, they usually reserve all the jobs for locals, which means you're going to want to start thinking about, not only thinking about, but planning and maybe even putting in place a business that can survive while you're out in Mexico as well.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot of planning that goes into it, which is why we're here to help. I remember when we were going through the process, you were like, you know what, people going to need some help with this. And that's why we started, Follow Your Freedom, because there are so many moving pieces, and you need sometimes the accountability partner. You need someone to be able to bounce your thoughts off of, especially if you're the only one in your whole tribe talking about moving to Mexico. I know they think you're crazy, but just know that you're not crazy. You're part of a movement. There are so many African Americans who have already moved here. And I'm not sure if you know this, but here in Mexico, it has the largest number of American and Canadian immigrants than any other country. There's already over 1 million of us who live here. So you're not alone. You're not crazy. You just need a little support and accountability. So I encourage you to work with us. Head on over to followfreedom.com. We'll be happy to have a consultation with you and just help you start mapping out your next, so you can get here to beautiful Mexico.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for being my interviewee today.
Thank you for having me on Good Morning Mexico.
I'll be looking forward to having you back. But thank you so much again for joining us. Follow peace.
Follow your freedom.
Adios.